guess that gets back to some of the advice that you give in your book, which I'd like you to expand a little bit, is that you can't just be thinking about the sale of your business as part of this whole transaction is what are you going to do after the sale occurs, right?
That's
And
right.
and some people, they've got a plan. They're like, yeah, I'm going to sell the business and I'm going to volunteer at this agency, or maybe I'm going to start a new business, or maybe I'm going to, take up the guitar. But it's really important to think beyond the sale of your business, right?
It is. And, what's interesting to me is that when people talk about what they're going to do, they often do, I'll ask an audience, what do you think? And I've asked thousands of people this question because I do a lot of speaking engagements like you do as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get in front of the audience and I'll say, so what do you think the top three things are that people tell me or tell each other that they're going to do in requirement? And they get them every single time. There might be some brief nuances, but they say, one, I'm going to travel a lot more.
Right.
Two, I'm going to spend more time with family. And three, I'm going to play a lot more golf.
Right.
They say tennis, but usually it's golf. And then occasionally I'll have somebody throw out volunteer more. And the challenge with all that, even the volunteer work, is that without being very intentional, not just about the organization that you might want to volunteer for, but what specific work you want to do based on your favorite strengths to use, based on what you're passionate about, and based on the lifestyle priorities that matter most to you, you may choose an organization that you really love, but end up doing work that just is a
Yep.
drag for you. And
Yep.
now you're into some volunteer work. And if you don't do it, it's like, well, now what are you going to do? So,
You're right. You're right. It's funny. I have a friend of mine who did sell his business, and he said the exact. I want to travel a lot more. That's what he said. See the world. It's very overrated, Abby.
well, I mean, how much can you travel, right? I
Agreed.
mean, you kind of want to come home.
Agreed. Agreed. And these are people, by the way, that are used to giving orders, that are used to other people following their orders. They're used to running a business. Then suddenly they're traveling, on a group tour with a bunch of 70-year-olds and like following around. Now we're going to go see this historical monument, and then go see this, and then we're going to go to this restaurant. The guy that I talked to, he said I was going nuts after 5 days, doing this, because I wanted something to do, something I could make an impact, something I could, it just was very much out of their element. And again, we can't generalize. I mean, there are some people that will take to it great, but
Of course.
you know,
Sure.
I guess the point is that, and and you make in your book is that you got to think beyond it, and you got to really look in the mirror and really say like, man, when this transaction is done, what am I going to do? Say it's the Monday after the transaction. What am I going to do all day? You got to be prepared for that because it sounds great, but it's and the typical business owner takes so little vacation as it is that it's just going to be a big change.